Audicratic Audio.
At the end of the day, and to your point earlier, a lot of careers are very short. People can make it last a year, 2 years. I remember when 5 years was considered veteran status. So it's very odd in that, like, I kind of start every year almost wondering how much longer this is going to last. This type of career has no job security to speak of at all. Like, I start every month with zero guaranteed dollars. Like, there is no even if I do the work, it doesn't always necessarily mean you're going to be paid on time.
Right.
There's all kinds of moving parts and things like that. But I say that to say that, like, for all this time, my employment security, for lack of a better term, is the work that I do today. And what that means is that whatever I've got to do today, whether it is mixing somebody's record, whether it's doing a feature verse for somebody, whether it is showing up to the show on time for sound check and being nice to the bartender at the venue, whether it's showing up to Ab's podcast on time and being there when I say I'm going to be there, like, all you can do is focus on the work you have to do today and do that work the very best you can and make sure that the person on the other end has a good experience with you. If you do that, your statistical chances of that, them coming back to rock with you again in whatever capacity, whether it's me coming back in months from now for episode 2 of the podcast, or whether it's a promoter who had a good experience with me, so they're going to book me again, or whether it's somebody who likes how their mix came out. And you know what? I just did 3 more songs. I'm going to send those to Jake too. Like, that's all I can do. All I can do is focus on what's in front of me today and try to make sure that the person who I'm dealing with has a good experience with me. And if I do that, I have a pretty good chance of having it tomorrow. And knock on every wood on my desk here, it's worked for a while and hopefully will for a while to come.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that way of thinking, because I used to play a lot of poker, and I still follow poker. I watch it, and I read a ton of books and all that stuff. And there's a concept in game theory that has to do with expected value, and I'm not sure how aware of that you might be. But basically what it means at the end of the day is, the right thing to do in the moment might not win you the hand, but in the long term, if you do it enough, you will win. But same idea. It really is the same kind of philosophy you have, where it's like, look, you just got to kind of hone in on what you're doing now. And the more I've tried to do that, the better I've been in just, amassing content and beats and not taking on too much. Because that was a big thing. I used to do way too much, like overpromise, underdeliver, because I'd want to do XYZ, but then I get sidetracked with ABC. I always wonder too, as I watch people online, get to know people, is this person making money? How is this person making money? Are they lying that they're making money, or do they not talk about it and make a ton of money? So it's always interesting to see, like, who is actually doing it, like who, and it's not about, having millions, but you make it very clear without even having to say it that you're a professional and you've clearly sustained yourself. I can see by your page, it is completely organic. You are just consistent as you can be. You are not engaging in any nonsense, and you have a brand that day in and day out, you just kind of keep at it. And a lot of people do that, but still might not get there. That's one thing that I think kind of sets you apart, because some people are good at one and not the other, but you seem to just really be, engineer full time. You're still putting out music. You're putting out content consistently. And that's what I'm really impressed about.
Thank you, man. Like that. One thing I can say is that, like, all those people that are there, it's not the most viral number, but everybody that is there was picked up one person at a time. Like, they actually want to be there. You know what I mean? Like, I built that, like, my audience was kind of, I don't want to say curated, but was recruited, one person at a time. And to your earlier point, bro, I sunk a fortune into this music stuff before I ever turned a profit for years. But the one thing that I'll say is that even the people who do music full time for a living, no one does this for the money. Because the music industry has probably the worst pay structure possibly imaginable in every way. Like, even for the people who do things professionally, like, I get hired to work on a big album, right? I do the work. I then have to submit an invoice to the record label and then chase them down and remind them to pay me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is not a good structure. Like, most people go to work and they get paid on Friday and then they have Saturday and Sunday to relax. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that, like, even the people who do treat it as a business, and I do, if this was about the money, like, I would have a job with benefits and I'd get paid vacation and, like, those kind of things. I think that regardless of whether you're doing music as a profession or whether you're just doing music because it's inside you and you need to express yourself, I think we're all kind of here for the same reasons. Like, doing music full time for me is not about, making money per se. It's about not hating my existence. It's about waking up every day and not hating what I've got to go do. Like, whether it's my work or not. Like, even, if I got to go to the studio and I got to mix 2 songs and master somebody's EP or whatever I have to do, like, this is not work that I dread or, have to gear up for, So for me, it's really more about just kind of creating the world that I want to live in. Like, I wake up in the morning and my to-do list today is to work on music things. And that to me holds far greater value than, whatever my tax return says that I've made. Like, and I've been that's why I have an album called The 100,000-Air Hobo, because I've been 100,000-air and I've been just a step above hobo. And, the key is to try to find somewhere in the middle that's comfortable. But saying all that to say that, I think the common thread with all of us is that we're here because regardless of how you keep the rent paid and keep the lights on, I think we're all here because there's something inside of us that calls us to do this. Like, we live a more complete life when we make art and share it with people. And, money is something that, like, I take finances seriously because we're forced to live in capitalism. But, you can't take any of that with you when you die. Like, the absolute best you could hope for is that it's left behind to your children to somehow make their lives easier. But you're not going to die rich. So I would rather die. I saw Jazzy Jeff said something recently about dying empty. And it's basically this concept of, like, while you're here on Earth, whatever you've got to say, artistically or otherwise, get it out, say it. Like, die with nothing left to say if possible. And, that's where I'm at right now.